Who's that?
Yeah. The mercenary that was working for us that now is, I guess, a ghoul of Severlod. Or works for him in some capacity.
Huh. That's worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, Byron will describe the description, but if you guys want to tell me that I'm wrong in my interpretation, but I interpreted it as germane almost all the way.
Could very well just be coincidence. How many ugly black dudes are there in New York?
Yeah, ugly black dudes with a limp that looked like a predator that just, I don't know, a few maybe, but why would they burn down my apartment?
Set up?
Why would he?
That's what makes me jump to someone setting it up, throwing us off the trail.
Well, I mean, why would he? Let's see. If Kadir has been mind raped by Severlod, and Kadir, I mean, I basically called him out last time we saw him. There might be very good reason. Severlod at least wants us out of the picture, if not dead. So that's where I'm coming to this conclusion.
That's fair. Do you know if he's still acting as a mercenary? If he's still active?
I haven't heard anything of him since you come out of Corpor.
That said, the hit on the three of us seem a little amateurish for Severlod, and I highly doubt Jermaine would do it on his own, and seem amateurish and out of character for Kadir. Not to attack us, but the way of going about attacking us.
Right. And secondly on this, although it doesn't pertain to the Helene Panhard thing, is Bridget Starr. It was mentioned to her, both Joseph and I let it slip, that there might be some sort of corruption going on with the police department, and that's why the building that was burned down was ruled an accident. And with this, I'm going to look at Aaron and say, we can either feed her more information, or I can try to wipe every indication we had that conversation with her from her. Up to you.
I'd wipe it if I were you. Vargas is trying to check out the corruption on the down low.
Byron will nod to himself. All right, I'll meet with Star as soon as I can, and I'll get that done. Any particular memories you want me to stick in her head to, or do you just want me to think them up on the fly?
At your discretion. I can't think of anything that I'd want her poking her nose in at the moment.
Byron will nod. All right. Well, then that's it for any new information I have. I suggest for now we lay low and see what comes of Helene Panhard getting killed, because there's going to be a retaliation somewhere, probably.
I expect the Tremere to act soon. The Nosferatu are also going to want to come to a conclusion.
Yeah, that said, we should keep our heads out of it as much as possible at the moment. Anything goes wrong, we're going to be the first people that gets thrown under the bus. First people that someone's going to want to just to have a little bit more room to move.
Yep, I totally agree with that.
Do you three have backup havens yet? Escape routes? Have you gotten that done?
I mean, I totally slept at the Majestic one night. Everything was fine except for I had back. That's what I had a crick in my neck and all sorts of things about sleeping on concrete.
Byron just kind of stare at you in disbelief and just say, "I'm still staying with Evelyn, but I have very few possessions. There's a little tying me there."
We might want to throw a few more beds down at the bottom of the Majestic just to be on the safe side, as in case everything goes wrong. At least all of us know that it's somewhere that could eventually land. That said, I don't have anywhere else to back up to.
We three should look into that.
Definitely, but it feels like it's a little bit late at the moment.
It is. But maybe you can find something at the last minute. Even if it's just a rented space in a parking garage and a trunk that's light-proofed.
Oh, that is an idea. Well, the question remains at the moment, what do we do about this? What do we need to do, if anything?
Well, the Tremere should be attacking soon. Maybe tonight.
Then we can only hope the war is over quickly, and that's to where whoever's left standing makes it better, because the longer the war goes on, the more likely someone is to come over here and roll us over.
I'm going to be meeting with Nosferatu.
About what?
A quick, quiet shadow war like this is where the Nosferatu get involved.
And what are the Nosferatu going to do?
Try to minimize collateral damage and put a good person on the seat of the princedom.
And your definition of a good person is?
Well,
Not Kadir.
we'll have to see. Certainly not Kadir and not Helene.
No. I should put Helene Panhard up there. Put the ashes on the seat.
Well, there certainly wouldn't be any risk of her doing anything bad.
That said, we might want to look for someone who can actually do good right now.
Well, at the moment, we've pretty much thrown our lots in with Genie. If we decided to go back on that, we could be making a powerful enemy of, well, the entire clan Tremere.
I would rather not do that.
It's a dangerous proposition.
Yeah, having my blood boiled with inside of me is kind of my worst fear.
Even if
Really?
Genie
And that even begs the question, even if we wanted to go against the Tremere, there's no promise that it's actually going to work. I don't even know how we would go about derailing it at this point. I say just let it happen.
All right. In that case, you three should just keep under the radar for the next few nights.
either that or we could be a little bit bold and make some more claims to territory while this is going on.
You
All I
broke
heard
up a lot
was
there.
He said either that or we could be more bold while all this is going on and make some claims to more territory.
Huh. Well, that's definitely a possibility.
That seems a bit premature, considering how we barely can defend the one we have right now.
True. Am I picking up?
You are?
Yeah.
So I am breaking up, or am I third clear?
Yeah, you're breaking up. You're cutting in and out.
Okay. Let me,
Do whatever it takes to fix it. You need to get top men on it.
Go ahead with the conversation without me. That was pretty much what I needed to say.
Alright, I think I caught most of that. Then David will say, alright, anyone have anything else? Anything
User
related
disconnected from your channel.
to the usurpation?
Can you repeat that?
Does anyone have anything else? Anything unrelated to the usurpation?
Not that I know of.
Nothing at all.
Well, then I feel like I should let you all know that my meetings with the Gangrel have been going well. And then he'll flash his eyes glowing red at them real quick.
He's going to spend a blood point to do that?
It's free, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
He's going to spend a blood to do it anyways, though.
We'll spend all of the blood points on this free power.
Why not, right? Speaking of which, Marcus, you're missing a blood point.
So yeah, he'll just kind of flash his eyes at them.
Uncanny.
What?
Oh, Byron was just going to say, I mean, your eyes glowing on your face, Byron was like, wow, that is just uncanny. Because I don't know that Byron would have ever seen that necessarily, not up close anyway.
Oh yeah, probably not. I mean, unless he's dealt with the Gangrel before.
Yeah, I truly doubt it.
User was moved
I
to
mean,
your
not
channel.
in that type of situation, no.
So, yeah. Byron, I was wondering if you could teach me that thing that the sheriff did to you. The scary look thing.
Right. Well,
The scary look.
yeah, in fact, I looked into it after the sheriff did it to me, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. I'd be more than happy to get you started on that. And for those playing at home, that's presence he wants to learn from me.
David isn't even totally sure about that. He just wants to know what the scary will look.
Right. But I'll say, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll have to think on what sort of exchange we can make. But Byron will say, you know, there have been times where I've wanted to disappear from situations. So they'll kind of trail off.
Well, I'm not as good at that as Joseph, but I'd be happy to teach you.
Yeah, to be honest, I still haven't decided with Byron. It's either going to be that or celerity. So
Celery?
Celery, yes, celery.
Celery and potatoes?
Can I get a quick check that I'm still that I'm not breaking up now?
Yeah,
You
you're
sound
good.
fun.
Okay. Then while discussing that, I want to chime in that, hey, Byron, really want to learn some occult from you.
Sure.
Byron.
Is Byron known for having occult knowledge?
I have one
We
guy.
we shared a conversation about it a little bit. Either of you two, something I can offer you in return for learning it. I'd be happy to do that too.
I don't just know if with one dot in occult can teach occult.
Yeah, I was going to ask Grimith about that. I never, because we were going to do an exchange computer knowledge for a cult, but we both just have one dot in that, so I don't know if we can do that.
Do you just have like the button held down?
You're still transmitting, Sean.
Am I?
You were. Sometimes TeamSpeak's been known to do that from time to time.
Yeah,
You're actually still
there
doing
was-
it now.
Yeah, if you can hear me, it's apparently TeamSpeak looks like it's not responding.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Interesting. Alright, you're good now, unless you, like, task managered it.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's fine now. It just froze for a moment there, and apparently that means that it just keeps sending just sending my voice. That could be potentially very embarrassing.
Oh, Nosferatu penis.
No, not as embarrassing
Nasadon.
as Nosferatu. But yeah, that was something that we wanted to ask you, Grimith, is if we can make that trade, like what would we need to do? Or would we have to go to class for that, and if so, how would I find in a class for a cult?
I mean, that's a theology and folklore class.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're still transmitting, by the way.
The fuck?
We've transitioned from one problem to another with Sean here.
Problems.
You might want to check, see if you're on push to talk.
Oh no, he's forced to push to talk.
I am. I'm on push to talk. It keeps getting into the thing of not responding and just keeps transmitting. Let me go ahead and restart it.
Probably a good idea.
So, anyone have anything else they want to talk about? Anything at all?
Sure.
I don't want to learn that glowy eye thing,
User
but
disconnected from your channel.
I don't know what you can do. I don't know if I have anything you want me.
You could just only one.
You want to teach me the computer thing? Is that what you're saying?
What?
I just didn't hear what Jordan was saying. I didn't.
He's asking for
quite-
Protean.
Oh, Protean. I thought I kind of wanted that GUI thing. That's what I heard.
Glowy
So-
eye thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
You could just owe me one.
Yeah, owing people one is usually how we get into these situations. You know, where people spot fucking each other.
Nice image.
I knew you'd like that one.
But, actually, I have been meaning to learn a way to see through obfuscate.
Yeah, I could teach you that, but the problem is then you have the third stage vinculum. I'm not above to you having a third stage blood bond with me.
That's true. Well, I can teach you if you want. You'd owe me one at a later date. Otherwise, sorry.
I'll think about it.
Take your time. I'm planning on sticking around for decades, centuries even.
Not me, man. I plan to die young.
I think you kind of missed the boat on that.
No, I died.
Yeah, fair enough. All right then, I'm out.
Hope you make the right decision.
Yeah, I hope we all do.
If you mean you're out of the session or just out of the offices?
Out of the offices.
Yeah. What time is it, by the way?
2:17 a.m.
All right.
And sunrise
well,
is like 6, right?
Sunrise is before 6 in the morning, a few minutes, yes.
Okay.
Well, we talked about this briefly at the end of the last session after you left, Grimith, but also that Byron's feeding roles have been kind of too easy, and I think that I've thought about it, and maybe it should be virtually impossible for him to find a really attractive person from 3 a.m. to dawn, because I don't know how many would just be sticking out.
You could say that. On the other hand, this is New York City, a metropolitan area with around 20 million people. If you're going to find someone like that at all hours, it's pretty much going to be here.
Fair enough. I just figured I was going to have Byron go feed, and I figured people are getting out from bars right now, so it should be easy. But I don't know about. I mean, up to you. You can make the rolls harder. It might be necessary.
Also, Sean's in the main chat room.
I was about to mention that. He's down there.
User was moved to your channel.
So, David's actually going to leave and head uptown to meet with the other Nosferatu. Since it seems that things are getting urgent.
Okay.
I think Sean was having a question earlier to you, Grimith.
If I was, I don't remember it.
The computer for a cult thing.
No, I think the question was, how many dots did you need in the skill before you could actually teach someone who didn't have anything in it?
Exactly, the computer for a cult thing, Jordan.
Okay.
Derp. Oh, actually, I do have one question. Since David has tasted Marcus's blood in the past, would that be sufficient for him to then be taught obfuscate or auspex now, or would he need to taste it again for each discipline learned?
I'm gonna rule on the latter.
Okay, makes sense.
Regards the computers and obfuscate thing, certainly someone who has limited knowledge in something can teach that other person limited knowledge. Like, let me show you how the web browser works. And this is the start menu. Then you right-click on something. It can be done. I mean, you might be better off just, attending a night class or something on basic computer science or theology and folklore, but it's your decision on that. It just takes up some of your character's in-game time.
If can find a night class on folklore and theology, that probably would be quicker. The same thing with computer class.
I mean, this is the time where I'm going to throw the same thing back, Al. You are in the New York City metropolitan area, one of the, most advanced population centers in the entire world. And while you might not be in the most affluent neighborhood in Astoria, you are a stone's throw from Manhattan. And you have so many different universities and colleges and all sorts of people here in this world of darkness.
And Astoria actually is pretty affluent, relatively speaking. I mean, it's no midtown, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, and also with a lot of those, you don't even have to sign up. If you just go to the professor and ask them if you can survey it or something, oftentimes they just let you do that. So you don't even have to be on the records technically.
Or just, sitting in the lecture hall invisible.
Also,
Yeah, there's that.
Cripson. Alright. You have been hunting here in Astoria for the past 14 chapters, and it's quite likely that all the really attractive people you found, you just simply picked the bars and dives clean. Okay.
Okay, that wasn't... All right, so what does that entail?
There is insufficient difficulty. I am more than willing to overcompensate for the past 14 weeks. You might have to go hunting outside of Astoria.
I see. Well, I mean, I was just trying to bring it up because everyone else showed
Certainly,
concerns.
that's perfectly fair. Oh, there are concerns from the other players about it? I mean, I can make everyone's feeding more difficult, too. It's, you know,
No, wait, what?
you're the people who've chosen to put 5 dots into domain
Yeah,
by
I'm
pooling
pretty
your
okay with
resources. Yeah.
getting the appropriate benefits
Well, I mean,
from what we
I
spend
mean, this
ourselves.
is sort of the perk that you gain by putting 5 of your dots into domain. But there's apparently a problem with the easy difficulty as a result of a good decision you made at character creation. So I can certainly handle that.
Please
well, I'll
don't
throw
make
it.
my feeding any more difficult. I'm already risking dying every single time.
That's okay. You have a domain that isn't connected to Astoria. You're okay.
Well, let me throw it back to the others because I forget who made the comment that what it was is that Byron's clan flaw isn't as pronounced because the feeding is easy. That's what we were coming at it. So I don't know. What do you all think would be more fair than Byron having to roll a 3?
We'll go ahead and have this discussion now. I submit that you are more than capable of compensating for your flaws as an intelligent vampire. For example, you know, the Nosferatu, he has an appearance of 0. He handles it, if he's smart. You know, the Toreador, who is prone to bouts of, you know, losing self-control and going into flights of fancy, he handles it. The Malkavian, look at what Sean's character's been doing, and I've been generous enough with that part, and not just having a soul who's taken over, spend every single blood point to bust out of the panic room, you know, knock Craig unconscious and go on a rampage throughout the city. Although I perhaps should. You folks at Character Creation chose to pool your resources together as a coterie and have a super powerful domain which apparently subtracts 5 from the difficulty of your hunting rolls. I have been adding difficulty to compensate for the increased time at late night, but I have assumed, you know, this is a fucking huge city. It's a goddamn metropolis. So you all have been able to cope despite, say, Aaron being ugly as fuck, or Byron trying to go for a snack at 4 in the morning. You know, simply because of the fact that you have 5 dots in this domain. Now, if that's a problem, if the choices you all made at character creation are by all means, I can do that.
Nah, I'm pretty okay with it.
No, yeah, I am too. I was just trying to throw out ideas to be more fair to other people, but I like how it is, honestly.
No, it doesn't sound like you like how it is. All right, you know, I'm a newbie storyteller. I don't know how to play Vampire the Masquerade. I'll have to skin off the kid gloves for next chapter.
The thing is, with his, it's sort of like the same thing as mine. Once we're out of our element, it really can hit hard. But as long as we're in our element, it's not very difficult.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you did miss an entire session, so and that's what was brought up is but yeah, if Byron screws up, he could very well miss an entire session. He'd go to jail or something for killing someone.
Well, it's just that he doesn't get any sustenance from people outside of his thing, right? He doesn't frenzy the way that Marcus does with his feeding limitations.
All right. Well, if I know someone that isn't attractive, I'll puke it up. I can't do it unless I'm friendly.
Really? I thought that you just didn't get any sustenance from it. I didn't think that you puked it up.
Huh. Let me look at that. I'll go to the venture. I thought it did make me feel sick.
No, he vomits it back up.
Ah,
Everything goes up. He could drink 19 liters of it. It would all come back.
fair enough.
And as the game says, or the book says, the refined palate can be very narrow or very broad, and he's got some narrow specificities, which would probably impact him if he weren't in a major city. Let's say, you know, we were conducting this not in New York City, but in a, a local, township or maybe just a smaller city or perhaps even a rural area, Byron Rand would have very difficult problems with feeding. We're in a big city, though. Vintru are okay with being in a big city. They can satisfy their proclivities.
Well, sounds fair to me.
That's fine. I'll flip the switch to hard mode next session.
Hey man, whatever. I'm saying I'm fine with it. You've won me over with your reasoning there.
No, but you're not fine with it because you brought up these concerns. And apparently these are concerns that not just you have. I don't want to create an unfair game here. I want everyone to have fun.
Capital F fun?
Dwarf Fortress fun?
Yeah, well, my idea, I don't know what you're going to do, but my idea was that it would either take twice as long if it's in the wee hours of the morning, just because it is a city, that it might be harder to find someone than just the hour that the thing gives or something like that. But I have no idea what your ideas are. I guess I'll have to see.
So, yeah, David's going uptown.
Okay.
I think Marcus is going to go hunting, unless Joseph or Byron needs him for something.
He's gonna go hunting? What, for the sheer thrill of it?
He's hungry.
No?
Am I using the wrong word? I think I'm using the wrong word.
He's peckish.
Your token, I was pretty sure along with all of the partying you had fed that back up. Okay, that's fine. Go hunt.
I did not. I didn't
Nope, it's fine. Go for it. Go hunt.
make it hard on myself.
Okay, it's fine.
So I'm gonna go blood.
All right. How long will Marcus be hunting?
Well, it's 2 something, right?
Yes,
In the
217. We'll say.
Let's say he's gonna hunt twice.
All right. How's Marcus gonna go about this process?
It's a Saturday night, well, and early Sunday, drunkable at bars.
Okay. Just gonna talk to them.
Yeah?
All right. Give me a charisma plus empathy at difficulty 3. All right, and you can give me another charisma plus empathy at difficulty 3.
How much alcohol does that second person have? How much alcohol does that first person have?
Well, you didn't specify. Let me go ahead and roll a 2 drinks.
I think that I don't know if that impacts my charisma pool, but I know it impacts.
No, just your dexterity and intelligence.
Okay.
You're still fine.
Yeah, I'm still fine.
Who's
apparently
so
just
fine?
I'm pretty drunk.
Yeah. What's Joseph going to go do?
Joseph?
First of all,
John?
he's going to unmute his mic. Then he's going to realize he's full. He doesn't have anything in nothing impending, no impending doom, and he's going to go home and be happy for a while.
Not for long. He's about to get bombed.
Well, he can certainly go home. That's a thing. And Byron is going to go out and hunt on his own, right?
Right. I mean, assuming there's anyone left in Astoria. If there isn't, then I guess you'll go home and be bummed after 3 hours of looking for food.
Go ahead and well, clearly you have to go find these attractive people, so, once you find the attractive people, Byron's got the rest made, so, let's go ahead and have a witch plus streetwise at difficulty 3.
Where the good-looking bitch is at? Shoot.
All right. Well, there we go. There's one.
Yeah, go ahead and roll 2 other times. Well, there you go, you're a winner.
Fan-freaking-tastic. So do I need to roll empathy plus charisma?
Nah, like I said, once Byron finds the bitches, he can get the panties off.
Yeah, if all else fails, bathroom now works.
I mean, the Dominates don't take blood points, so there you go.
Yeah, I can just... I would just get this vision of someone just walking into a bar and walking up to some hot girl said, bathroom now, and that just cracks me up every time.
It's a thing. Okay, so Joseph's going back to his church to hang out and play maybe Nintendo 64 with Craig. Marcus and Byron are going to be busy for the rest of the morning. David ventures off on his lonesome to Manhattan.
See.
Now, as it turns out, the location that David ended up getting, for starters, it is in northern Manhattan in a territory that is seen as Nosferatu, pretty much given around the time where Calibros became prince. Gotta look out after the clan, everyone sort of expects it. The primary locale, though, is a place known as the Cloisters, which you should actually have been able to see on the map for quite some time. I thought about hiding it, but, what the hell. Now, the Cloisters is a former monastery turned medieval history museum located at the northern tip of Fort Tryon Park. It receives some traffic enough to keep it operational, but it's not as popular of a tourist attraction as so many other locales in Manhattan. And, we haven't taken a break at all during the course of the session, so go ahead and have like 3-4 minutes if you wanted to walk away or get something to drink.
I'm probably going to be heading back out again soon.
That's fine. In that case, that's fair ruling. We won't even talk about what David ends up finding and doing there.
Right.
But to the others. Woo, spring break party. But yeah, the location, Aaron, if you're still with me.
I am.
It's a set isolated from the sewer tunnels. It is beneath the Warren is located in a hollowed-out chamber beneath the museum. It the neighborhood still has sewers and it's accessible by subway. Gerard apparently has decided to completely isolate the location entirely from the sewers. And as it turns out, there are quite some Nosferatu there. There is a whole series of of guards, it appears. There's two Nosferatu who are apparently, standing out and lurking and checking to see any non-Nosferatu approaching, or even Nosferatu that they don't recognize. You're led into a ratty nest, which tends to be what many Nosferatu warrens end up being, with the one clean area. It's pretty pristine, but it's a clusterfuck, the cluster of computers which you could assume entirely run ShrekNet. Chamber is roughly elliptical, about 40 feet wide at its widest, and perhaps 100 feet long. It appears to have some cheaply reinforced walls, hastily erected to afford some degree of protection. The access point that you were given, and it seems that, it's understandable that there probably be many. You were pointed through a false storm drain at street level, which took you to the locale. And there are definitely mechanical wooden stake traps, along with some gun embankments as well, just in case.
I mean, you can never be too prepared.
Now, of the Nosferatu who are here to basically form this faction, this group who are going to be engaging in discussion, you have one who is known as Gemini, and definitely she exhibits the wonderful features that the Nosferatu embrace as well. Her head looks like someone divided the front of it with a hatchet, splitting it down the center from between the eyes downward. From there, it sort of healed, with scar tissue lining the insides of the cleft. This apparently has left her, as David observes, with the ability to move either of her mouths, wrinkle both of her noses individually, and other side effects as a result of, having this massive scar tissue lining the front middle of her face.
Attractive.
Yeah. Of the Nosferatu who can actually blend in with human society and look as ugly humans, she's not one of them.
Yeah, I just look like someone who's, slightly deformed and burned.
She's got some dirty patchwork-looking clothes. The other individual who ends up sticking out is apparently named Crid, the K-R-I-D. Compared to everyone else, this pretty much looks like a blessed Nosferatu. He seems like he's only suffered minor deformities. You can say he'd actually pass for human, assuming that one can forgive a creature who looks so ugly. He's got a low forehead marked by a single bushy eyebrow. He's got a unibrow, and a severe and splay-toothed underbite and a hulking body. He sort of lopes around, and he wears both t-shirt and jeans, which are very, very clean, perhaps suspiciously so for a Nosferatu. He, from your understanding of, go ahead.
Not all Nosferatu are dirty.
Right. But it certainly is the stereotype. I mean, they live in the sewers, right, man? But Crid seems to be as if he's like the diplomat, like he's a representative who goes out and talks with non-Nosferatu kindred, along with, of course, Gerard himself.
Makes sense to me.
At this time, though, you're looking at about a dozen Nosferatu altogether in the Warren, not counting the 2 guards who are standing outside to watch over things. And perhaps others as well. As, again, one of these unfortunate situations that you could all obfuscate and not be able to see each other.
It'd be the Battle of New York all over again.
Yeah. At this point, I'll take a look at the Twitch chat now. I've looked at it briefly from time to time. I noticed that there was a level of excitement from a few people whenever Helen Panhard apparently has met final death. Any questions or comments for me or for the players right now during the middle of the session that I can answer?
Oh, and I'll take questions that I can't answer.
Go for it, absolutely.
I'll take questions for Aaron that he can't answer, and I'll answer them for him.
He'll be lying, but they'll be cool answers.
Sweet. So my question is, who's going to be the next president, Aaron?
At this time, Mr. Kunkel would like to announce his candidacy for the president of the United States.
Awesome.
Well, Genie and the Anarch Baron, Metal Slime Hunt, are pretty much on the completely different ends of the spectrum. The Anarch Baron, you really can't consider him to be a candidate for the princedom, given the fact that he's an Anarch. At least no self-respecting Camarilla kindred would.
I think people are just putting the idea that the Baron is a candidate for the princedom out there as a sort of joke.
I mean, as for how Genie, Eugenio Estevez, is perceived, I've explained to the players before that again, this was 15 weeks ago, perhaps. You know, he definitely is a viable candidate, and perhaps that's partly due to the fact that the Tremere are just so goddamn powerful, and they played such a major role in rescuing the city from the Sabbat. He'd be another one of the conservative prince contenders, along with, well, formerly Helen Panhard, and Carter Vanderweyden is like a traditionalist sort of guy himself. And, you know, he'd definitely try to keep the traditional balance of power, you'd assume, within the Tremere, Toreador, Ventru, you know, power block that Gerard expressed his distaste, as well as fear for. We probably would have a little bit of a more laid-back type of situation, perhaps due to just his personality, but he would most certainly favor the warlocks as well, as pretty much would any prince towards his own clan. With the exception of Calibros. There might be some people who don't think Calibros did anything of that sort.
And I'm not certain the Malks would appreciate Mr. Vanderweyden, because all the Malks are weird.
Larian, it's his name. I mean, I could call you Lar I-E-N. I mean, I could go by Grimith. It's his fucking name. Grimith? Hello there, governor. How you doing today, Grimith? Yeah, but my name is Grimith, with one M, contrary to popular belief. Why I let the coterie use things like celerity and extended actions, well, it gets factored in for the whole dexterity dice bonus, but with the whole extended rules thing, I'm going to try to follow the few rules that White Wolf has deigned to write to me.
Well, for an extended action like that, you'd have to burn through an inordinate amount of blood.
It's true. Chaotic Idealism asks, the Nosferatu seem odd to me. I mean, not how they look, but they seem to cooperate with each other in a rather unvampirish way. Why is that? The Nosferatu, at least even in regards to, the Camarilla and Sabbat differences, they tend to be at least civil towards one another. The Nosferatu are unified by their, for starters, their clan weakness, which has resulted in other grotesqueness. As such, they really have been limited in what they can and can't do in the exterior world, even, you know, during the nighttime. Of course, they have obfuscate, but it ends up in a situation where it's just awkward. And all of the highbrow vampires, which is to say, practically all of them, particularly the Camarilla, end up judging and shunning the Nosferatu, as they have done for a very, very long time. So they tend to be close-knit, especially in a situation where you're afraid that a monster your grandsire has sent after you, the Niktuku, is devouring your fellow Nosferatu beneath the city.
Fur and the Nosferatu are probably the most organized.
No, Tremere are. There's no question about that.
The Tremere have the whole bureaucracy thing going for them.
That said, they're not necessarily the friendliest to each other, just the most organized.
Nosferatu are probably the ones that are genuinely the most friendliest to each other.
And to others, even. Nosferatu are usually... I mean, the stereotype is that they're helpful dicks with hearts of gold.
That being said, there tends to have a level of built-up resentment in Nosferatu towards non-Nosferatu, simply due to the overall treatment. It's why Gerard has this Uncle Smelly caricature of himself built up, which basically it's hyperbole of everything stereotypical of Nosferatu.
Also, the other reason that people hate the Tremere is that historically they weren't from, they weren't actually descendant of Cain. They stole vampirism. They actually were blood mages to begin with, mortals, and they twisted some vampire into and used that to become what they are.
Yes, by the game lore, they experimented with the Vitae of Zamitzi, and they then deoblerized Solot, a torpid antediluvian of the Salubri clan. As such, and that's one of the reasons, particularly the Zamitzi hate them. The other reason is that they found a way to carry their magic with them, sort of like a twisted version due to the blood thing. And it's not actual magic of sorts, but thaumaturgy is a very powerful discipline. And it can do many effects that other vampires would rather not be exposed to. And the Tremere also know Auspex. And the Tremere also know Dominate.
Basically, the Tremere are fucking spooky.
As for Chaotic Idealism, do the Toreador not like the Nosferatu? Stereotype? No one likes the Nosferatu. Individual vampires.
I think the stereotype is no clan likes any other clan.
Yes.
Toreador hate Ventru, Ventru hate the Toreador, etc., etc.
Like, say, for example, Ventru using Presence and Dominate on each other, that'd just be fucking rude. You don't do that.
But Ventru using it on a Toreador? Oh, not that bad.
I mean, it kinda needs to pay attention, right? Alright, that's enough question time. So, SKS just sent me a message. I ended up having Steam open. And, I suppose I'll mention this as a gag. So one of my friends and his wife had a baby, and he named it Leonidas. Your moment from SKS.
Hi, SKS. I know he can't hear me, but...
He'll never
He
watch
can
this
hear you
anyway.
if you believe.
If I scream loud enough, maybe he'll hear me from across the Ohio River.
Louder.
Okay, so David is busy doing his own thing. And the rest of you end up doing your whole hunting sort of thing. Afterwards, are you three going to be doing anything?
Not that I know of.
You've got a short amount of time before sunrise, so yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I think Joseph wants to look into if there's any way he can get into a class. I mean, it's a little bit late, but I mean, at the very least, I think it was Aaron that said it. He can't just obfuscate his way in, so it's not like anyone can stop him.
Right, it's not like you'd have to pay a fee for anything at all. You just have to devote the time to sneaking into the classroom. But you know, on the other hand, it is like 4, 5 in the morning on a Sunday. Probably not a class going right now.
No, not a class going, but just looking online to, hey, is there a midnight theology class somewhere in New York City?
Sure, that could
Turns
certainly
out
be done.
that turning invisible is really helpful for getting, information without anyone noticing that you were there.
who knew?
That's news to me.
Sure it is. What is your obfuscate at now? Like 20 or something? I think it started out at what, 3 or 4, wasn't it?
It started at 4.
And it is already. Yeah, I knew you put a whole bunch of points into it. So that's crazy. 4 obfuscate.
Alright. So, everyone ends up falling asleep. Sunday, March 22nd, 1998. Completely unconcerned and unworried about what events might unfold within New York City. Right? This has been a pretty action-packed past 2.5 hours. Feels like it's been longer.
I mean, we learned Helen Manhart is dead, and that the Nosferatu are gonna try to perform a
So, how
shadow
how
war
how
while
how do you, since I do have you four here, even though it's during the middle session, how do the four of your characters feel about this? And then, how do the four of you as players feel?
feel about what Nosferatu Shadow War, or the fact that Helen Panhart's dead.
Ellen Panhart's death. It's pretty much the main thing you folks learned along with what Byron revealed. Everything that David talked about with Gerard, David certainly didn't share with the three of you.
Well, Marcus really doesn't know anything about Helen Panhard, except she was a Ventru, so he's really not torn up about it at all. I mean, I as a player, I'm like, oh shit, she was one of the main players. She was one of the major players. I mean, wasn't she like Prince Michaela's
Yes, child of Prince Michaela.
Yeah, she had that pedigree, that someone that said that line back to like old power, and then some people really respected. Now she's gone. It's kind of scary who has the power to kill her.
And, while I certainly haven't been naming off every individual supporter, you can certainly assume that the majority of Clan Vintru, as well as perhaps even Clan Toreador, who didn't want Kadir in, and some other supporters from other clans, were behind her.
Yeah, now all of them are just sort of hanging around in flux, going like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, Byron, on his part, he met her. I mean, she was the person from his clan that was running for the princedom. So it's kind of bad that she's killed off. But she really scoffed at Byron, and so he's trying hard to feel bad about it. He knows he should probably.
Wasn't a great first impression, right?
Man, fuck that bitch.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not. It's kind of like, someone's ugly to you, talk down to you, scoffs at you, and then they, break their leg or something. I mean, you feel kind of bad that maybe they got hurt, but you're like, yeah, okay, same type of thing. Except this time this woman's dead. But he is kind of. His thoughts went directly to Valentine with that, because he's also, I mean, he's in Ventrua. He's not vying for the princedom and probably won't, but that might make him more powerful in Ventru circles. So that's what he's thinking.
Certainly, that ends up putting him as pretty much the oldest or the most powerful Ventru within the city.
Yeah, and that's where Byron's mind was at. So he's just hoping that his little chat with him is going to help Valentine survive somewhat, since Valentine's the only one that hasn't been a total dick to Byron. But as a player, I'm kind of sad to see Helene go, because we only had that one conversation with her, and I thought she was kind of interesting. So, oh well.
Well, Joseph gives no fucks. She...
So he's celibate.
Well, that too, but
He is a priest.
that too, but he no care. He's essentially just waiting to see what happens. If anything develops that, you know, might be in his favor, might be what he wants to go towards. That said, it doesn't look like it is, so he's really doesn't care who wins as long as it's not someone he despises at the moment. As a player, I didn't really care for Helen Panhard one way or the other. I mean, she was, to me, she was just one more player. She had the pedigree, but that was sort of it. There wasn't a whole lot that made me attached to her, like...
Right, you didn't spend a lot of time interacting with her and getting involved with her.
Yeah.
Aaron?
Well, David is worried and running strategies and, you know, doing all of the sorts of things that you would expect a fairly paranoid person familiar with legality and politics to be doing. As for me, I'm excited. I want to see how this all unfolds now that the first shot, so to speak, has been fired.
Did you want to do anything more with David for this session, or are you so close to leaving? Okay.
I'm really about to leave.
All right. Well, I am glad that you were able to stop by when you did.
Yeah, so am I.
Next week, Sir David's like, so I heard, Helen's dead. What? Why didn't you tell us? But we know Nosferatu stuff.
I might even be back in just an hour or two. I don't know.
Alright. Don't worry about it. If you end up coming back, then just, you know, let someone know, and then I'll drag you back down here.
Say goodbye to Aaron, everybody. I'm talking to you, Cobrag.
Yeah, go glomp Aaron.
Please don't.
Please do.
Apparently he's a svelte farmhand, Aaron. I'm sure you want him to glomp you.
No.
I'm sorry, you don't have a choice in this matter.
No.
Svelte, man. Nothing but Zolftig.
Alright. Sunday, March 22nd, 1998. It is raining. A dreary, rainy day. And Byron, Marcus, and Joseph, you may all subtract a point of blood from your blood pools as you awaken.
I'm gonna go ahead and heal one more act.
Okay. As it turns out, in your voicemails, the three of you have all received, like, various calls from the contacts and acquaintances you've made throughout your months or even years here, depending upon who you are. And basically, you know, sort of like courtesy call type things, like, you know, basically to the extent of what's now leaked out to everyone now. Helen Panhard has confirmed to have met her final death. There's sort of speculation as to how she was found, and exactly by who first, but there was enough left of her alive, apparently in existence, that didn't turn into ash. It was She wasn't left out in the sun. It was a gruesome and up-close and personal affair. Apparently, in her own penthouse in Angel Suites. You all might have noticed, perhaps an hour or two ago, I added a big red X over there.
I know I missed it.
To commemorate the occasion. So yes, there's that. In regards, like, say, other major dire threatening events, other than, the series of messages you've all gotten from, your various acquaintances and stuff, just to like, hey, checking in. Oh, by the way, Helen's dead. Don't know how that's going to do about it. Some of the neonates end up being concerned, and some of the kindred, of course, don't really much care. I mean, all this political shit is over their heads. They just want to, be at peace. They don't want to have another, like, wartime situation, which is pretty much true for almost everyone in the city. No more wartime princes. Let's just relax and have fun with eternity. Which you three might feel the very same way.
Kind of want to figure out some things, though, tonight. I know we were told to go on the down low, but the moment Aaron leaves, I just feel like I need to go do something stupid.
Go for it.
Hey, you can do it while I'm still here.
Nah, I gotta be cautious now. He's here.
That's how I'm actually
well,
going right now. See you guys later.
Bye, Aaron.
Bye.
User disconnected from your channel.
I was thinking Marcus would probably spend his, unless anyone calls him before he leaves, he was probably going to go and see what the Toreador are talking about at the PS1 Contemporary Art Center and see what the rumors and gossip is.
It's possible that there might be some people there for a Sunday night event.
Well, Helena just died. I mean, we gotta start gossiping about it, right?
That is certainly an arguable thing. It's also possible that Elysium might actually end up being the safest places to talk to anyone about anything.
Well, I'll check after I go to PS Contemporary. After I go to PS1, it's on the. I mean, I don't know what Byron and Joseph are gonna do, but that's what Marcus is gonna do.
Well, and for Byron's part, what he's going to do is he's going to do a little bit of research. He just wants names and stuff on the police department so he can kind of put together a false memory for Bridget Starr, because he's planning on saying that she followed up the lead and it wasn't a good one and, whatever, and maybe Byron took her out for a night and they had fun or something. I don't know. But he's researching names, so it'll at least have the semblance of reality if she checks back. She seems like the type that might want to check her facts.
All right, let's go ahead and have like a perception plus. I don't know. No, not perception. That roll's just dumb. I'm like, he wants to make the game harder. I'll just make stupid rolls. No, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would make a roll. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's. But I just figured that Byron would need to. I mean, it's everything in the book. It's kind of soft with the facts, but it says, however much detailed your story is, it has a better chance of not being broken or whatever. So, trying to just RP that.
All right. And that's what he wants to do. What's Joseph going to do? You might have said. I fucking forgot.
Well, I guess I'm going to, while doing hiding time, he's going to be dedicating all his time to researching the occult.
Okay, sure. Was he going to go out and get a bite?
I think he's going to rely on his his herd for that last aggravated damage. So that's going to take a while. He's going to be sitting with that for a while.
Okay.
I don't want to risk being out and about anymore.
Certainly, that seems practical to me. Alright, Byron can do his research and investigation without incident while Joseph looks into cult affairs, and Marcus takes a trip to PS1. Doesn't really seem like any Toreador milling about here.
I'll stay around for 10-15 minutes, take the art, if there's any art to be taken in, and then head to Elysium.
Give me a self-control roll of difficulty 6. So there's this one art piece.
Why haven't I noticed before?
You can come up with what you can actually invent an art piece that off the top of your head that Marcus might have stopped to take a gander at, and then spend the next hour talking with any sort of like human passerbys who might be walking by on this Sunday night.
Well, I'm thinking it's some form of semi-modern art that for some odd reason to him looks like a gun. It just, he's talking about it, getting constantly like, this reminds me of that one time when I was in Vietnam. Basically wing everyone out around him.
Okay. Marcus definitely gets some strange looks. And after about an hour, he shakes it off.
I have a phone call, I'll be right back.
Maybe he doesn't shake it off. Staring at something that looks like a gun. This reminds me of my time in Vietnam. It was a good day.
Yes, that is what you'd call your time in Vietnam.
I like the part where I kept shooting Charlie in the face. It was a great time.
I gotta go somewhere for 5 minutes, but I'll be right back.
It's okay.
If just imagine Marcus is still talking about the thing.
Oh, absolutely. Did you like how that happened, everyone? Mark, he's like, oh, Marcus takes in the art. Well, okay.
Oh yeah, I saw that comment. The minute he said that, I was like, man, there's going to be a self-control roll.
I mean, easy mode Grimith wouldn't have had that happen, but now that hard mode Grimith is enabled.
So if I wanted to capture him with like a violin, would I have to roll like against him?
I'd have to make you see if you could do like a worthy enough performance that would be actually noteworthy to him. Which would involve some sort of like, say, charisma plus performance. I mean, every Toreador has their own, like, exceptional things that they're attracted by. Some, of course, are so awesome that they tend to affect a broad spectrum. But Marcus is the type of character who goes after weaponry and music. It's just that every now and then I've thrown in, like, a mural, or, some other form of artwork, or there was that one time in, Sevalod's Haven. His domain.
Yeah, my first idea for Byron was actually to be a Toreador, which with much the same stats. And I remember, I don't know how this would have went over. It never got past the planning stages. But my plan was for him to be mesmerized by any type of like debate, especially political discussions. And I'm just thinking, I don't think he'd be very usable in this game.
Isn't that how Byron is now?
Oh, well, I mean, definitely. I mean, like I said, they're almost the same character. I just switched clan a little bit because Jordan said he might want to play a Toreador. But I think he worked just as well as Denshu as Toreador, maybe better in this setting. Who knows?
Well, it's a good thing we had a... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just replying to Metal Slam Hunt, so if you had something actual to say.
No, it's a good thing that we had such an action-packed first 2.5 hours, because now everyone's like reading or looking at art. Volo starts cloning himself. You know that no one's heard from Sevlot in a while. At least none of the player characters. Oh, Cobrag. I mean, just looking, I mean... Alright, I'm gonna have to break this to you, Cobrag. Pornography existed before Al Gore invented the internet.
And I'm back.
Glad you... Alright, so Marcus has just had his experience. Fucking Cobrag. So Marcus has just had his experience. What would Marcus like to do now?
Probably head to Elysium and see if there's anyone there.
Which Elysium does Marcus plan on going to?
Well, is there a Knicks game tonight?
No. If there were a game, that might have just been one earlier in the day. It is Sunday.
He'll go to not Madison. He'll go to Madison Square, not the Garden.
Okay. Marcus can certainly go do that. And, takes him some time to transit there. And factoring in the time he spent, preparing himself to venture out into the world. Basically, he might have been throwing on a pair of shoes since he probably wore the same t-shirt and jeans he went to sleep in.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And, spending that hour there in the Contemporary Arts Center, looking about maybe 12:04, 12:05, getting to Madison Square. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of buzz here, although what you get from one passerby ends up being that apparently shit is going down at MSG. Like real shit. Bigwigs are there. Many of the kindred who at least like to keep abreast all the time and participate in current social events, particularly with the death of Helen Panhard, they're there. It's pretty cram-packed.
Well, Marcus is like, well, I should probably go there.
Certainly, Marcus can go there. Grimith has no problem with this.
Grimith also talked himself in the third person.
That is factually correct. Grimith's tone of voice also changed. You may have noticed this.
Still, Marcus is going to go to Madison Square Garden.
Okay. Sounds great.
He's going to blush up, but in case of things.
In case of disaster, please pull button.
Yes.
Alright. Yeah, certainly fine. He's going by himself?
I mean,
Might as well, right?
I am in the neighborhood, and there's bigwigs there.
Definitely bigwigs.
But on the other hand, some of the bigwigs are trying to kill me. At least someone's trying to, annoy the hell out of me.
I mean, how does Marcus feel about this turn of events?
About being attacked or being kicked out of his apartment?
Yeah, how is... I don't exactly, get to have this conversation a whole hell of a lot during the middle of the session. How's Marcus doing right now?
He's kind of annoyed about being evicted from his apartment. He's also kind of annoyed that there's about to be a war, there's about to be a civil war in the Camarilla in New York City, and theoretically he could have. He's still depressed because he could have.
Yeah,
stopped from happening.
He might have been able to prevent all of this.
Marcus is still depressed.
He still manages to sleep at night.
Can't be too depressed. He's a vampire.
How was Marcus feeling about this whole losing blood points every now and then thing?
Marcus is still wondering what the fuck is going on, and if it has something, he's wondering if this has to do something with that Frosty the Snowfucker thing.
Could be, or probably him falling asleep in the sewer. Getting bitten by cockroaches and rats didn't do anything. Forget I even brought it up.
Whatever it is, he made some mistakes that day.
There are no take-backsies.
There are no take-backsies, and I as a player, and Marcus as the character, do not really know if it's something he can fix.
It certainly is. All derangements, except for the Malkavian's derangement, are curable.
You know what? Live a little. Marcus will go to Madison Square Garden.
All right, it's cool.
I see nothing wrong with that plan.
For everyone listening along, what I was doing there was a stalling for time mechanic to draw a map. Oh, I hadn't actually finished one completely. For the situation. It's going to be blown up. Anyway, as Marcus arrives, the Auspex, sort of like tingles a little bit at the concept of, oh shit, shit's gonna go down, and definitely seems like Elysium Security, the Elysium Security Force is more alert. There are no humans at all anywhere remotely, like near Madison Square Garden. Whatever is happening is is the real thing. It's a big deal.
So I guess I don't need to blush up.
Don't need to.
I'm not gonna blush up because I don't need to.
Right. It's not like you really need to worry about keeping those blood points, though. I mean, it's a pretty safe place. Elysium is.
Yeah, it's pretty safe, and its safety is usually protected by the Keeper of Elysium, who happens to be the sheriff.
Ah,
Why
funny that! That probably doesn't mean anything.
Probably not, but on the safe side, we're going to be cautious.
Of course, as Marcus approaches and even walks into the building, there is a great deal of noise coming through what appears to end up being not exactly the arena itself, but a primary, major room within Madison Square Garden. It's a whole mixture of just voices. From this distance, it sort of sounds like it's impossible to really tell. Certainly, Marcus doesn't want to use his heightened senses discipline, being in
You.
Elysium and all.
I mean, if it was a little kept to a a little bit quieter, maybe, but nah.
It's pretty loud and boisterous, and there is many voices talking at once. Sounds like it might be the right place.
Or it's just some other place called Elysium filled with a lot of people yelling at each other.
There's probably nothing major happening.
I mean, Marcus isn't going to try initiating a conversation. He's just going to try to listen to what he can hear, I guess.
Certainly,
Unless
I mean,
someone-
the doors are open. You can easily walk in there yourself.
I mean, he's going to walk in.
All right. I'll go ahead and move you. The main problem I had was assigning tokens. I already had the situation planned out. But tokens were a big deal. Had to make sure that the right people were here.
Why
Marcus-
does it look like I walked... Oh, dear. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What was it?
I was just saying, I sort of just, like, push open, like, the doors are open, but it's like I sort of walk in between two factions, like, I just came to the wrong neighborhood.
Marcus definitely sees a very expansive sitting area with the smaller tables represent chairs, most of which are occupied. Some by vampires that Marcus would recognize and remember their names, but many of whom Marcus would not recognize the names, but sort of expect to have like some sort of clan type. Immediately to his right, there's actually a group of 8 Nosferatu, with one who's sort of sitting in the aisle. Sort of looks more officious than the others. Over there on the left, you have a whole little contingent of Ventru, by the looks of things. Further off to the left, you have perhaps where all the Toreador would have from the public school, one contemporary art center. You even have Thomas Arturo there. You have a smattering of Cameral Kindred whom you can't identify. Some Bruges, you think, over there to the right, and of course, Catherine Weiss. Behind a main talking area, Kadir is conveying the points. Definitely seems as if Marcus was approaching and entered that no one really pays him much attention. The main talking point is what the city is going to do, coming forth with after Helen's death and what it means. Seems like Kadir is giving the whole grounding and basis and foundation, and none of the Camarilla should ever forget that the Sabbat are still a threat, and no matter whether the Kindred want to flip the peacetime, the Sabbat, who have been reeling over the past few years by repeated losses along the eastern seaboard, have not forgotten, and they might very much want their great prize back. This could be called the White Whale of Archbishop Polonia. I'll also point out, Marcus is an observant enough character, there are no Tremere here.
I was just I was assuming that those were the Camarilla Kindred that I couldn't identify.
Perhaps.
I mean, they might be Tremere, but they, on the other hand, they also might be
no
something else.
genie, no any other officious enough regent type character. They could certainly be Tremere, or they could be of any other type.
I also see that I don't see Carter Vanderweyden in here either.
He is not, no.
Nor is Marlena, unless I'm missing her.
No, she's not there. But then again, no one really cares about her.
True.
Not all the Harpies are here. Mez, who you guys have never met. You're not even sure where his domain is. He's not here. Of course, Helen Panhard is a bit indisposed at the moment.
Of course. Well, I think Marcus will try to be as quiet as he can and find a seat.
Yeah, feel free to take a seat. It really does look like there's only one entrance to this, and that is the 3-tile doorway that Marcus just walked through.
Yeah, but he's not walked down the aisle or anything like that. He's definitely try to not bring attention to himself.
Okay. He might get some glances as he comes in and takes a seat. You can always move near the toreadors.
Yeah, well then. I'll just sit back here with the other Camarilla kindred that you really can't.
And bridge the gap between them and the Ventru, huh?
Sure, I will bring them together.
Only Valentine is there as well. There is all sorts of discussion. Like, the sheriff is talking, but other people are also talking with themselves next to each other. There is Marcus is at a, just go ahead and give me a perception plus alertness at difficulty. Well, it's not exactly a sight-based thing. We'll say, and just trying to observe your surroundings. Give me a difficulty 6, perception plus alertness.
And it's not a space thing?
Nah, not a sight thing. Right,
2
still
successes.
2 successes. And, give me a perception plus empathy at difficulty 6.
2 success.
Alright. The Ventru, exception of Valentine, who's keeping a pretty neutral face in all this, they look displeased and significantly unhappy. The Toreador are talking among each other. You would notice there's simply more Toreador here, at least ones you would recognize as that, given your familiarity with the Toreador clan, than those of the other clans. The Nosferatu seem pretty patient, but it's kind of hard to tell what their facial expressions are, because you're not exactly sure what their facial expressions are.
I mean, that could be a smile, or that could be him trying to tell me he's dying.
And the Bruja always look angry, right?
I mean, if a Bruja is not angry, something's wrong, right?
At this point, we get into a whole sort of discussion. Kadir ends up flowing through some topics about, the failure of the city to unify in these trying times, and how, because, there isn't a strong prince to protect, who knows what malevolent agents of the Sabbat could end up being responsible. Or this is difficult to say, and, even if this is someone who's vying for the candidacy of the princedom, enough is enough, and it needs to stop now. And that is when Kadir ends up stating, from this day forward to unite the city and to ensure its safety. Excuse me, I need from this day forward to unite the city of New York, present a unified front against the Sabbat and the other enemies of the Camarilla, and to ensure the safety of everyone, elder or neonate, who wishes to live here. I, from now on, will be the Prince of New York. Conversation stops.
Time to watch everyone's reactions closely.
More time passes. Really seems as if an awkward silence has fallen over the entire group in here. As if no one's sure whether they want to be the first person to say something or not. Certainly, it was an interesting decision. Folks could see the writing on the wall that this was going to be coming and happening. And, regardless of whether Kadir was the person who might have killed Helen or not, that's not an issue. What's an issue is finding a prince, and are we sure that Kadir is the right choice to be prince? Give me another perception plus alertness. Difficulty 6, it's hearing based.
2 successes.
There are footsteps. A lot of footsteps approaching from outside the room, as if all of the doors of Madison Square Garden were flung open, and dozens of people walking.
Well, if I can hear this, obviously other people can hear this. Right?
Yep. It turns out that any sort of protest or affirmation of, alright, you can be the next prince, has sort of been distracted and taken aside, due to the situation of, this massive amount of noise pollution entering the scene. There's some panic sounds. Folks with suits sort of end up running, past. Well, it's difficult to see given Marcus's position and where he's sitting. But someone has ended up crying out, "Anarchs!" And then there's a loud thump, and someone falls over, like someone falling over.
That's not what I thought.
The footsteps continue approaching, and as it turns out, Marcus can hear what ends up being the tap of a third leg as through these open doors, and by this point all of the kindred who have been sitting have stood up and have sort of given some leeway to the position, and you can just assume that their facings have been cleared as well. Nosferatu sort of scatter off back here. Boss Callahan, flanked by Duke Wily, the Wily Fist, has come in, and there's sorts of shapes back behind him. Apparently a lot of kindred have followed in as well, armed with all sorts of weapons. Some melee-based, like chains, baseball bats, knives, and then some have serious firepower, from submachine guns to shotguns, pistols, and the like. What does Marcus wish to do?
Watch and wait and see what happens.
Sheriff ends up taking point on this. Sheriff looks very angry. The brow has just sort of furrowed, and his fangs are his lips are curled back so far his fangs are readily apparent. Steps forward. What is the meaning of this? Boss Callahan, standing in his position, looks confident, with all the people backing behind him, although, there's many kindred in here as well. And Boss Callahan, with his, fucking old-timey persona personality, says, "For too long have we dillied and dithered without any sort of focus or care of anything, while petty politicians squabble for positioning here at Elysium. This ends. What the kindred need of this city, of the domain of New York, is someone decisive, willing to cut to the heart of the matter, and who cares about preserving what we have here in this unlife. And Kadir snarls, stepping forward, and says, "What does an anarch baron have to tell us, to preach to us about leadership or unity?" Boss Callahan says, "What do we have? Oh, well," then he develops a sarcastic pose on his face. He taps his staff, his cane, to his chin. "Well, perhaps you would be in a better position to judge us had you not sold yourself out to Sevalod Cerveni."
Dun dun dun.
As those who actually recognize the name, there are many people who are looking around confused and going, "Whoa, what?" Kadir, for his part, keeps a stern face and says, "Sevalot Cerveni, the Zamitzi, living beneath the city." And that's when Gerard, for you, one of the Nosferatu, gets up and begins shifting towards Boss Callahan, along with all of the other Nosferatu. "As a matter of fact, Sheriff, indeed, we have conclusive, concrete evidence of your foolish choices, of how you have spent that week you were absent, rather than hunting the Sabbat, consorting with a Zamitzi fleshcrafter, and, by all accounts, you've chosen to throw in with this creature, abomination, and more so, you have elected to attempt to misdirect every kindred living within the city, and exhorting them to focus and fight on the Sabbat, while you take over, you little dominated bitch."
Dun dun dun.
Let me go ahead and make some rolls here in the background. Oh. Oh. Oh, Kadir. Oh, Kadir.
So the Tremere, the Nosferatu, and the Anarchs have made themselves into an alliance, and they just said, "Fuck the Camarilla."
Oh. Kadir lost his self-control. Botched it.
Oh, so that means, yeah, he's the prince, and he loses it at being called a bitch.
Kadir, with the face of, this sort of thing, has gone into frenzy. And, good job, Kadir.
I don't think the Toreador will support him in this situation.
He, launches himself without warning, claws protruding from his fingers, at Gerard. And he is quickly and swiftly countered by Duke Wiley, who actually launches his body forward, pulls out a stake, and with the rolls are made, drives into Kadir's chest. Kadir falls over paralyzed.
The Prince of New York City, ladies and gentlemen.
Does Marcus say that out loud?
No.
Oh, come on.
If you've noticed, Marcus has been getting as far away as possible.
Oh, yes.
Without being in anyone's, cone of vision.
And certainly, I'll go ahead and have some we'll go ahead and drag some other tokens around, just to symbolize, interaction as people have been standing up to take a look into this affair. Certainly there has been a great deal more interest, for as, unfortunate as the Nosferatu may be seen as New York City, the fact remains that they still are a trusted source you can be of being a vampire, source of information, and for Gerard to even side with the Anarchs on such a matter is to basically confirm such to be truth, particularly if a Kadir suddenly loses his goddamn mind and goes into frenzy because he botched his self-control.
Huh. You know what? Maybe that guy's right.
There ends up being a considerable amount of murmurs and sort of like shock on the faces of many kindred as Duke Wily came flying out of nowhere and with the stake easily drove it into Kadir's chest and paralyzed him. Kadir slumps over. Boss Callahan ends up looking at the congregated kindred and says, "Well, I personally have no desire to end up leading the kindred. I being much preferring to keep myself isolated. I would certainly hazard that none of you would have wished a leader who was consorting with a Tzimisce flesh-crafter, who had been behind the murder of Helen Panhard, as if vampires really care about that, right? And who had been consorting to hand the city right over to the Sabbat." Lots of murmurs and nods from consent with many of the kindred here. Some of the known faces have your like Stony and Poker type, not saying anything. Truly, we hope that this matter can be resolved without weakening the city too much more. Otherwise, the Sabbat will come back in. We hope that you can appreciate the severity of the situation and why we, as Anarchs, had to come into Elysium and stake someone. What's done with him, that's up to you. And perhaps confusingly enough, the Boss Callahan turns around and follows all the dozens of Anarchs who came out. Duke Wily stands there over the sheriff, a sort of eyes flicking left and right. And then he walks out too. There's a loud amount of footsteps as they leave the building.
And here I thought that was Tremere Hitwads.
There's a lot of confusion. Everyone's just sort of like staring at each other silently. And then Marcus may feel as if he has to leave because the noises might become too loud for even him to decipher or tolerate in a non-heightened sense of state.
Yeah, time to leave the politicking for the people who like politics.
So does Marcus leave then?
Marcus is going to slowly make his way out of here unless anyone, like, motions for him to come over, you know?
No, as it turns out, everyone who Marcus can see is too distracted with talking with each other and arguing and panicking over what we do now.
Well, Marcus has really no political pull, so he's really a nobody now. He's gonna make his way out of here. I just also noticed that none of the other candidates for the princedom were here. That's worrying.
It's true. No Marlena, no Jeannie, no Vanderweyden.
Well, I understood why Jeannie wasn't here, and Marlena, that was... and Vanderweyden's the one I'm worried about.
Why? Why is Marcus worried?
Because Van Weyden is the... I don't know what his Malkavian derangement is, so I don't know what, if anything, is going to, dispose him.
Is Marcus worried about the health and safety of Carter van der Weyden?
A bit, I'm like, is someone just killing off all the candidates so we just go into chaos now?
Alright,
And then there's...
Marcus ends up leaving. The Anarchs have dispersed by this point, coming as quickly as they left, it seems.
Well,
But,
I guess I'll make a way back to...
there ends up being one individual who appears and walks up next to Marcus. Sort of like on the outskirts, like right on the exterior of the building, and sort of reveals himself. Apparently his obfuscate being so goddamn high that Marcus's 3 dots can't spot it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of scary.
He keeps a respectable enough distance, a yard or two, and says, Marcus Paulson. He ends up, he was, of course, the Nosferatu who ended up speaking out.
Yes, I'm sorry, I do not know your name. I do remember seeing you backing up Boss Callahan, though, in there.
The extremely weak chin sort of gives a smile, you would guess. He studies you for a moment and says, You may refer to me as Gerard. All I wanted to say is that keep up the good work. And then he walks away. Round a corner.
And I'm never going to see him again. Spooky. Well, I'm going to go back to Astoria, and I'm going to call everyone.
Okay, David doesn't pick up.
He's doing Nosferatu things. He'll figure it out on his own time. Does Byron or Joseph pick up?
You'll start a group call.
Or,
They're
right,
busy
yeah.
studying.
Yeah, no, just a quick question. What time is it? I'm just curious.
My circumstance and...
Yeah, Byron would have spent maybe an hour putting together a story. Then he would have called up, I don't want to say Albright again, Bridget Starr,
Okay.
for a meeting later on, like around 10, I guess. So if it's...
Well, you wake up at 10 at night. What
Oh.
10 do you want to meet at?
For some reason in my head it was 8. So yeah, okay, fine. So he probably would have left a message. Okay, then he's probably not going to meet her then. He'd say that he'll meet her tomorrow night, I guess. So should be no problem. He'll be around. Byron will pick up.
Where are you going to meet at?
He says he'll just come by the newspaper if she wants to stay there, and he'll give a statement or whatever.
Actually calling her will actually result in you getting in contact with her now. She would answer the phone at her desk.
Right, I just mean he's going to go in there and do Forgetful Mind on her and all that, so he needs to get face-to-face. But yeah, he would say that he'd meet her he could also say, do you have time? How late will you be in tonight? I might come by. He could do that as well and go there like at midnight.
She would sigh and say, forever. Particularly if you're going to give me that story. Corruption happening in the police force in the city. I'm still quite interested in that, Mr. Rand.
Of course you are. Of course you and I have some information on that. I'd be happy to give you.
How did your rest of your meeting go with, Charlotte?
Oh, it fell flat. We left a few minutes after you did, and I talked to her a little bit, but I couldn't get any more information out of her. I just think she saw what she saw, and there's I was hoping to be able to track down who might have done this through that man, but really that description was not. I mean, maybe if I had if I had police files, I could go through it, but I can't really do much with that information. However, this has no bearing on information I might give you. It's an entirely different avenue.
I see. Yeah, you can come in now.
All right, so he'll go on in, and the story, if you want me to give it now, because it won't take very long. I'm assuming that she has an office secluded in a way.
Absolutely.
All right, so he will try to give a story how he gave her information about how perhaps the fire department fudged some details and that type of thing, and then he's going to say, well, you called up this person, and he's just a name at the police department, and that person said, no, it does look odd at first blush, but these are the things, and Byron's going to say that it was a very convincing argument, and so she's going to be left with the impression that she could see how Byron could see maybe there was some wrongdoing, but after she dug deeper, it in fact was a dead end. And then Byron is going to say that he took her out for drinks as an apology, and she had a very, very good time. And he'll name some club that's in Manhattan, say, that's not directly there she might not know about.
All right. Go ahead and give me a wits plus subterfuge roll, then. 1, 2... Checking the willpower. Yeah. That'd do it.
Good. I'm glad I didn't fail too bad, because I needed that whole block of memory. So hopefully that's good enough to cover it up, so she won't be that in. So I was trying to leave the door open that if we did need her to look into it, we could go back and have more evidence. But
basically, you altered / removed an entire scene from her memory. So yeah, it's fine.
Right. All right. That'll work then. And with that, he will bid her farewell, and he will head on back to, I don't know, maybe he'd go look for another snack or something, but I'm anticipating he'll get interrupted by Marcus.
That seems perfectly fine as well. Marcus interrupting that.
All right, so Byron will answer the phone then. You're on, Jordan.
Is Joseph on? Because this is going to be one of those group call things.
Yeah.
Guys? Remember how Helene Panhard died yesterday? Met final death?
Could hardly forget it.
Someone else?
I was at Madison Square Garden, and Kadir just announced that he was the prince. We knew this was going to happen. That's not the whole story. And then Boss Callahan of the Anarchs burst through the door with like dozens of other Anarchs behind him, and then basically says that Kadir was under the control of a cephalad, and said that we shouldn't allow someone being dominated by one of the flesh crafters. And then this Nosferatu, who named Gerard, I don't know his last name, he seemed kind of influential enough to back them up.
Joseph used his phone, alright.
Yes,
okay.
yes!
Yeah, that is essentially what he's doing at the moment.
Then Kadir flipped his shit because the Nosferatu called him a bitch, went frenzied, and Duke Wiley put a stake in his heart. And then the Anarchs left.
Oh, Byron will laugh at that.
Then the Anarchs left. And then I decided to leave, and then the Nosferatu guy told me to keep up the good work. I don't know what I'm doing, but I gotta keep it up.
So,
Well,
so did the Anarch say like, did Boss say what he's doing? Is he like trying to take control?
No, he doesn't want to take control.
I wonder who told him. I mean, seems like everyone, after we let the cat out of the bag with Tremere, everyone learned this stuff.
Yeah, once we told whoever we told first, which was everyone, basically one right after the other, everyone knew. It just passed so quickly.
I'll speak as a storyteller. Theo Bell learned first.
Well, oh, really? I thought it was Valentine then the day after Theo.
Oh, that's true. It was
Yeah.
Valentine.
That said, they were on the same night, I think.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it was either the same night or one after the other. It hardly matters, I don't think.
But anyway, is basically basically Kadir called himself the prince. People challenged him. He frenzied, and then he got put into basically paralyzed with a stake into his heart. So he lost a lot of political backers at that point because he frenzied.
Yeah, at this point, with that, it's Kadir's a no-go. He's not going to gain back enough power to claim it.
It's either basically people who believe what the Anarch and what the Nosferatu said, and then are okay with it, and those who are still like, well, maybe what they're saying is wrong, but on the other hand, he just got put down like a bitch. So I really don't think we should support him anymore. So we might not have to worry about Kadir anymore. I left before they did anything with him, but we'll see what happens.
Until I see his ashes, I'm not going to assume anything.
Bad news is, though, we don't have a sheriff now.
Fuck. That is kind of bad news. What do we have? We have
harpies.
Harpies? That's
Few
it?
of them.
You have 2 harpies.
Oh shit.
There's no, and with the sheriff being taken out, there's no longer Keeper of Elysium. The deputies are kind of there. No Primogen, because Calibros never named any of them. Because he was a wartime prince, and of course, no prince.
Shit.
Basically, we need a prince. We need or someone else to come. We need a prince to come take power in the next couple of days.
Either that, or people need to start calling themselves Primogen. Anyone who can even get close to that, who's not running for princedom, can.
Okay. Follow me here. We'll name basically, I expect the harpies to be able to hold some order for a few nights, but beyond that, I don't know what to tell you.
I think we need to worry more about the Sabbat than anything else. Once they hear that the sheriff is dead,
He's not dead.
He is incapacitated. All right.
Once they learn that we don't have a sheriff, they're going to move into Manhattan.
Exactly.
So what do? Put up a line right on Queens?
What do you mean? I don't know if we can do anything.
No, I mean it would be like a desperate thing, but just essentially say we'll hold Queens from Manhattan if the Sabbat move in. I mean it would be nothing. They'd run us over afterwards, but it'd be something. Oh jeez, this is all sorts of.
To be fair, the only 2 people left who have any real claim. There's only really 3 people left that have a claim to the princedom: Jeannie, Carter, and Marlena. None of them were there.
Yeah, if he was, I mean, I'd figure if he was going to call himself Prince, they probably figured what was going to happen, and they don't want to be there and start an actual war.
Well, here's the thing:
there.
Jeannie is the only one who really has the power base to call himself Prince right now. And Marlena's Marlena, and Carter doesn't really have that big of support. So
do we know Carter doesn't have that big of a support? I mean,
I'm assuming he doesn't have the biggest support. He's a Malkavian.
The primary mark against Carter Vanderwyn is that he's a Malkavian.
Yeah, that said, Joseph is Malkavian.
Here's the thing. You're talking to a Toreador here, and the Toreadors. okay with the current way the world is. Marcus is also saying from a slight bias, he's a Malkavian. What support he has is going to be more than Marlena because she's raw.
That said, I see this going two ways. One, someone manages to get the princedom immediately and hold Manhattan against the Sabbat if they attack, or hold it strong enough that the Sabbat don't attack. Or two, the Sabbat roll in, take over Manhattan, and then we've got to be allied with someone who's outside of Manhattan.
Yeah, I don't think we can rely on Boss Callahan to do that. He doesn't want to be that kind of guy, apparently.
No, I wouldn't imagine so.
And there's really there's only one other person, there's only really Catherine and Vice and Jezebel in Brooklyn who have any sort of power outside of Manhattan.
Well, who was the other person that you'd say was running for the princedom?
There's Marlena, Jeannie, and Carter.
Right. Genie's based in Manhattan. If shit goes down, he's going to be in war. And if he loses and we're allied with him, we're destroyed.
You also understand Manhattan is pretty much the jewel. If you lose that, you pretty much lose the rest of everything else. You can't rely on anyone outside of Manhattan.
True.
It's how the Camarilla got their foot into the door. They infiltrated into Manhattan. The Sabbat never really much cared about the financial centers, and they didn't notice until it was too late.
The Sabbat aren't going to make this mistake twice. I mean, maybe if everyone, we've got some friends in Brooklyn, maybe, but even then you're just basically foregoing the inevitable.
Yeah. That's just buying time till we die.
So it's also worth noting, I mean, you guys still have a sheriff. He's not dead. He just stayed.
I mean, it's entirely possible that the High Regent has dominate or something higher than, it's entirely possible that there's someone among the Tremere or someone among the Ventrue that has powerful enough to fix whatever happened to the sheriff.
It would be unfortunate if, now that Kadir has been staked, the Tremere somehow got a hold of him, right?
It is entirely possible that someone gets a hold of his body and unstakes him anyway, not giving a fuck.
You know what? I'm going to say it right now. We should go talk to Thomas Arturo and make him become prince because Toreador.
Yes, that is a persuasive argument to the other two who are not Toreadors.
Well, I mean, the Venture hasn't spoken up at all this entire time.
I've just been listening because, I keep waiting to bring up something, but then someone else will bring up my thought. And Byron's just thinking of two things. He's like, man, is my phone forwarding my old phone number? Because maybe I'll get a call from Palatine. He's hoping. And secondly, he's just saying, he'll speak up now and say, we might want to just lay low, and if shit really hits the fan, we might just want an escape route. If not entirely out of the city, at least, Long Island or something to get out of harm's way.
I mean, if the Sabbat come, I'm going to fight them, but you guys run.
Oh no, if the Sabbat come, Joseph is fighting.
Yeah, same with Byron. Byron is going to make himself pretty darn scarce.
I mean, if a civil war comes, it's going to be between the Camarilla, it's going to mostly be localized to Manhattan because that's where the power players are anyways. And if you basically control Manhattan, you control New York City. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to have that much spillover into Queens or Brooklyn unless they're doing, hits or raids. So as long as we don't do anything to bring attention to ourselves, which I know we have a problem in doing that, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. That said, do we want to do something about consolidating our power? Do we want to try for Well, essentially, what the f do we want to do? I mean,
Here's the thing: if I feel we try to claim more areas as part of our domain,
not
it
claim
might
more
come
at
back.
this point. Not claim more at this point. Just moving up into, trying to move up into Steinway or something. Not. The only thing that we could do is control that one bridge that's at the southern end of Astoria. That would be all that would be useful to us.
There's things we can do. I just don't know what it would be. I'm of the same opinion of Byron here. I'm just laying low and seeing what happens right now.
Well, the problem with laying low is whatever happens, we'll end up weaker for it. We'll end up losing for it. And that may very well cost us our lives. I mean, someone rolls, whoever wins, if it's Sabat, if it's someone we didn't support, whoever it is, if we didn't support them, they're not going to like us.
On the other hand, if we support someone and they lose, the other person's going to definitely not like us.
We're kind of on record, if not technically, but certainly we've been supporting the Tremere by giving them that information first. So
Well,
if you're seeing you're supporting Genie.
Well, Genie knows that we gave him the information and that we tacitly support him. We might have other opinions about who should be prince. We just show we're supporting him because he was the one most likely to deal with Kadir.
Yeah, that was the thing. We were supporting him on the idea that he was going to get rid of Kadir. If Kadir's out of the picture, what has us tied to supporting him anymore? I mean, just, what, a couple of days of history? I mean...
Oh, no, I mean, definitely.
Out of the current crop of candidates, I support him more than other people, but just because he's done things for me.
Yeah, I can see that. That said, he's a Tremere.
Yeah, well, given a choice between a Tremere, a Malk, and a wet behind the ears Bruja, I just put the three-sided coin on that one.
So you're going to ask Malkavians to give you a three-sided coin just so you can flip this?
Yep, or I'll use a die. I don't know. He might even think of doing that. But
At
the point is that
Go ahead.
I mean, Byron doesn't really care who takes control. I mean, he's willing to just let the next couple days play out and see what happens.
That is true. We could wait a day or two and see if they roll in, if Sabat roll in. That said, if they roll in, we're weaker for them having done it while we're not doing something. We aren't being proactive.
On the bright side, the camera really are smart in the fact that